Right, so after a midweek filled with so much action from you, now the European top five leagues return to action. But let's make a stop in England where the race for a top four finish keeps on intensifying. Now, you take a look at the standings where from third to seventh are all gunning for a place in the UEFA Champions League. But luckily for the Premier League, 5 teams could end up qualifying for the UEFA Champions League next season, which is a big plus for them based on their performances in Europe this season. Now, in third place, you have Newcastle, with 59 points. There's Forest, there's Manchester City, also in fifth place with 55 points. There's Chelsea, and then there's Aston Villa. So all these teams are gunning for a place in the top 5 because it's been confirmed that England or Premier League will have 5 representatives in the UEFA Champions League for the 2025-2026 season. Now, let's look at the most interesting and then games that would actually, have an impact as far as the top 4 race is concerned. But before I proceed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and then also like and share the content. Now, one of the games that everyone will actually have interesting will be that game at the Goodison Park where Everton will be hosting Manchester City. So Everton, they've actually turned the corner ever since David Moyes returned to the club after, leaving for over 10 years. He came back and all of a sudden, they found their mojo, they found their groove, and they are winning games. So their last game was at the City ground where they managed to win in the dying embers of that game. Abdoulaye Doucouré getting that important goal and tells you how good they are and how resilient they can be as a team. But Manchester City will also be heading to the game at the back of a 5-2 win at home against Palace. So you remember that game where Palace scored twice and you were thinking that, it was just going to be game over for City. But then they managed to stage a comeback, a dramatic one, in fact, to win by 5-2. So both teams actually coming into this game, with a lot at stake. But then it's Manchester City who will be looking at this game and thinking we have to win to actually increase our chances of winning or qualifying for the UEFA Champions League. I don't think Everton will be that easy for Manchester City to brush aside. Despite the fact that City are scoring goals, the likes of Omar Mamouche, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne are all fit and playing so well. I think Everton, defensively, they look so solid and disciplined. And it will take extra effort and work from Manchester City to actually break them down. I might not be forced to say City are going to win this game, but then it's a game that could have a huge bearing on the top 4 race. And I feel that Manchester City would be more motivated more than Everton. Even though Everton are safe, they might also want the point to at least, appease their fans. I would go for a goal scoring draw in this particular one because I believe Everton, are strong at home. Looking at how they managed to beat Nottingham Forest away from home, and now that they are playing in front of their home fans, I believe that they should get this one over the line. Now, another game that would be very, very crucial as far as, Champions League qualification is concerned will be at the Villa Park where Aston Villa will be taking on Newcastle United. Now, Newcastle United are on a roll. Aston Villa lost to PSG. They are out of the UEFA Champions League. Their fairy tale ride came to an end, despite the fact that, they showed so much character and promise in that game. So they were 2 down at some point, against PSG, but then they managed to win by 3-2, ended up losing by 5-4 aggregate scoreline. It wasn't bad for them, looking at the fact that they've not been in the Champions League in the last 4 decades. They gave a good account of themselves. But they come up against the Newcastle side that scored 9 goals between 2 games against Manchester United and then also Palace. So they beat Manchester United by 4-1 last weekend. Then in midweek, they also got a 5-0 win, a convincing one actually, over Crystal Palace. So in their last 2 games, Newcastle have managed to score 9 goals, even without Eddie Howe, who is still being treated for pneumonia. This particular matchup could have huge implications on the title, not the title race, but the race for top 4. And I feel Villa at home looks so strong, especially looking at the fact that they managed to beat, a team like PSG, a team so strong like Paris Saint-Germain. And also looking at the circumstances, they came from 2 down to win that game. But then Newcastle are scoring goals. I feel this game will be filled with so many goals. It depends on who or which team will take their chances on the day. I'm a bit confused, but I think my money will be on Newcastle. Like, they look so solid, even without Eddie Howe, in the dugout. They look like a team that could score lots of goals. Unfortunately, Isaac isn't scoring more, but then Villa could also give them a run for their money. I will go for Newcastle to win that one. Now, Ipswich will also be facing Arsenal. Arsenal know that the league is out of reach. So there's no way they can win this league. But then for Ipswich, there's a team that went to Chelsea and shocked Chelsea by playing a 2-2 draw at the bridge last week. It's one of the results that for me was so shocking. I've never seen anything like that before. They took a 2-0 lead. Chelsea tried to come back, but then all they could get for that game was just a point. Arsenal will still be resting players for that UEFA Champions League quarterfinal game against Paris Saint-Germain. They'll have that one in mind, and knowing that the stage or this time of the season is so crucial, they might not want to risk so many players. I think Ipswich could draw this game. Arsenal have drawn their last 2 games against Everton. They drew, and then they drew at home against Brentford as well. I'll go for Ipswich to either win or even hold Arsenal to a draw. Now, back to the top 4 race, where Chelsea will be traveling to the Craven Cottage to face Fulham. This should be interesting because Fulham, the last time they played at home was against Liverpool when they won by 3-2. So they delayed the party for Liverpool, and I feel they could even hamper Chelsea's top 4, aspirations. This is a team that is well drilled by Marco Silva. They have so many good players. They have so much quality in the team, and Chelsea are not scoring. Chelsea also lost. Despite the fact that they qualified for the semi-finals of the Conference League, they lost that game at home. So I think I would go for a Chelsea win. At least I would want to be a bit biased. Emotionally, I feel Chelsea would also want to, increase their chances of qualifying for the UEFA Champions League. Let me go for a Chelsea win. But Leicester will be at the King Power. Liverpool will be visiting. Liverpool would want to push towards, that league title win. They know that time is on their hands. Yeah, they have enough games to do that. But then they might want to wrap up early and then try and rest some players. They come up against a Leicester City side that went 9 games without scoring from January all the way to April. They broke that streak in that game away at the Amex against Brighton. I feel Liverpool are too strong. They might be too strong for Leicester. Let me go for a Liverpool win. Then Tottenham Hotspurs, after also just marching into the semi-finals of the Europa League, will be taking on Nottingham Forest at home. So Nottingham. That should be an interesting matchup at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I feel Forest will still be strong. Tottenham Hotspurs are conceding a lot of goals these days. They do not have a stable defense. Neither are they motivated enough to come up against the Nuno Espirito Santo side. I think Tottenham should lose this one. Yeah, because regardless, even if they should win, that wouldn't impact where they are currently on the league log. They should end up Nottingham should win this one away from home. And Manchester United will also host Wolves. So after that dramatic comeback against Lyon, they stay at home. They welcome Wolves to the Molineux. So there's a Wolves side that would always try to torment and hunt Manchester United. But I think, with that win, with that Harry Maguire last minute goal, it should give Manchester United some morale booster. I think they should win this one over Wolves. So these are my predictions. These are the most important games coming up in the Premier League. So you can also tell me which games you will be interested in and what your predictions will be. Now, quickly to the Spanish La Liga, where the race for the title keeps on intensifying. So there's still a 4-point gap between Barcelona and then also Real Madrid. But then Barcelona will be in action on Saturday where they face Celta Vigo. So it could be a huge game. Barcelona know they are in the last 4 of the UEFA Champions League. But then, who would want to do the double? Hansi Flick would want to achieve the double in his very first season at the helm of the club. Now, they face a Celta side that's not been so flamboyant and convincing. I think Barcelona should put about 4 or 5 past the Celta team. But for Real Madrid, they would still want to keep up, with the momentum of Barcelona. They also entertain Athletic Club, one stubborn side in the La Liga. I think it's going to be an interesting game. But then, Real Madrid shouldn't lose hope. I believe after that shocking defeat to Arsenal, one of the things that their manager, Carlo Ancelotti, will look at doing is to try, and work on the psyche of these players. This is a Madrid team that has won the UEFA Champions League 15 times. But when you lose to Arsenal, they should know perhaps, the confidence of this team could be dampened. I think Real Madrid should get it back in that game against Bilbao. Athletic Bilbao themselves are into the semis of the Europa League. But then also, they are still fighting for a top 4 finish. I'll still go for a Madrid win. At least the title race should go down to the wire.